We're at 4760 Halbrent Avenue in Sherman Oaks, California, 91403, performing a video sewer inspection through the 4-inch mainline cleanout at the rear of the house. We're going to attempt to run all the way out to the city sewer and inspect the line. And this is our backyard area. Side gate. And this is our 4-inch mainline cleanout.
Well, thank you.
So it's just because I've now the last few weeks
this portion of it right here is ABS plastic, and then transitions to 4-inch vitreous clay, which will mark that area on the way back. Then we have a joint. We actually have a crack. We have a crack in the 4-inch vitreous clay right here. We're just going to take a look at this and mark this area. This area is just toward the side of the air conditioner condenser that is closest to the back door of the house. And that is one crack in the pipe right there. That's not in the joint, that's actually a crack all the way around the pipe. And it's actually separated, as you can see. When we get to this edge, you can see that it does drop down a little bit. That's at 17 feet on the camera monitor, right under the air conditioning condenser. And then we run out again. Now we're at 20 feet and we have another crack. It's a crack all the way around the piping, and that joint is actually separating from what we can see. There's another crack. We're going to mark this area. And this area is right up underneath the concrete patio platform. And this has a crack in the line as well. It's not in the joint. You can see it's cracked, appears to be cracked all the way around, and at about the 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock area, you can see some small root intrusion there. and there's a crack in front of that joint as well. If there is a lot of earth movement, if we have a decent sized earthquake again, there's no stability in this pipe because you've got several cracks right in this area.
Is the water, is some water going through that joint right there?
Sure.
It looks like something's going down,
Well,
correct?
it will a little bit.
Okay, but I mean, like, it looked like almost like...
Yeah.
Okay.
But it will, a little tiny bit. You can see where it's cracked and it's separating. It's offset a little bit.
Okay.
And it will go through that area. It may just be a little bit at a time, but what happens is you get enough water underneath there, it stays wet and there's not as much stability. It washes out the dirt in that area that's holding that joint together. And that joint looks to be in fairly good condition. These joints are approximately every 4 to 5 feet. And we have another large crack all the way around the pipe. You can see it all the way from the bottom, all the way around the top. It is offset a little bit too. And that's up underneath that concrete platform. And then we get out to the next joint, and you can see where, now this is where it's really showing. There's a crack all the way around that pipe. And off to the right, from about the 1 o'clock area to the 5 o'clock area, you can see the face of that pipe where it's cracked. It's actually coming apart now. Now it's separating in that area, and we can stop and locate this.
I kind of knew that.
She said she runs a thing for it every year. And I bought the brick coming up to you. Oh, for the chimney? Yeah. We said it was real good. We saw those
This area is right at the retaining wall at 4 feet deep underneath the concrete patio, rear patio area. And we have a crack up on the left-hand side, and we have some minor root intrusion up on the left-hand side. A little bit of offsetting. You can see where you're in the pipe and then you drop down. So that is some offsetting there. Go to the next joint. Now it looks like we're going to make a drop, go deeper, and that joint is offset a little bit. You can see the face of the pipe at the top where it's dropped down, and then you can see we're actually going to drop down into the pipe. Drop down into the pipe a little bit because it is offset. And then you had some root intrusion in this turn, and you can also see right here off to the left at about the 11 o'clock area to about the 9 o'clock area, it appears there's a crack going across that fitting, and that's just outside the retaining wall. That's making a drop, and then our next joint has a minor offset to it, nothing terrible. And now we're going out toward, it appears, the street area, and we have some pretty heavy root intrusion right here that has been cleaned. You can see the root intrusion, and that joint is also offset quite a bit. See how much of the joint you can see at the top of the pipe and then not at the bottom. That joint's offset quite a bit, so we're going to locate that area, mark it out. marked this area out at 7 foot 6 inches deep, and it is on the side street on Camarillo Street. And this is in between the garage and the back of the house, but it's outside the retaining wall, going toward the street. We're going to run through here. We have to run some water, try and rinse our camera lens off. We've got our camera lens rinsed off, and now we're going to run through this piping, and I believe we're heading out toward the city sewer. We will go out and locate this in just a moment. We have some root intrusion in this joint. This appears to be old concrete piping that they used years ago. Then we transition back to, looks like 4-inch vitreous clay, possibly 6-inch, can't tell for sure. A little minor root intrusion in that joint. No cracks or breaks in there. That joint appears to be in fair condition. Then we have quite a bit of root intrusion coming through here, and there is a good sized crack in this piping, and we're going to go locate this area. Okay, this area is out in the street, and it is in the 6-inch city lateral that does belong to the homeowner until it reaches the city sewer. And you can see here that at least from about the 5 o'clock area, and we don't know how far around, it's hard to see as you're pulling back, but it does go around toward the 1 o'clock area, this crack, and I'm sure that it's cracked on that left-hand side going up from maybe the 8 o'clock area to about the 12 o'clock area. More than likely it's cracked. There's some pretty heavy root intrusion there. And keep running toward the city sewer now. And we have minor root intrusion coming in on that right hand side, but that's very minor. That joint looks to be in pretty good condition. That joint looks to be in pretty good condition. That joint has some minor root intrusion off to the right, but again, that's minor. And that joint appears to be in good condition. And we've got some offset shifting right here in this turn. You see how smooth the joints are here. It's kind of even difficult to see the joint to a point because they are so smooth when they come together. Like right here, that joint's nice and smooth and tight. You can see it. And then you get down into this other joint, and you can see as we start to round this turn going down into the city sewer, where you see the face of the pipe off to the left, and it's shifted. And it also looks like right past there we drop in. It's just shifted right here quite a bit offset. And then we drop into the city sewer. This 6-inch lateral is still in good enough condition that you can install here, and the 4-inch sewer line does need to be replaced from the main line clean out to the 4x6-inch connection out by the street on Camarillo Street, and then install a liner. We're going to go from here and pull back. We're going to pull back to the 4 to 6-inch transition. We're at 91 feet. If we didn't have that root intrusion in here and the crack all the way around there, it wouldn't be as bad. You could probably just maintain this, but that's just going to get worse. And the longer you leave it, the less stability it's going to have. It's better to install a liner now before it gets to a point where you can't line it any longer. And we got this area too where I can see a little bit of a got root intrusion up off the left. It's hard to say if that's cracked or not. I can't really see it. And you get a little shifting here, just minor, but that should be lined to support that. And this is our transition area. We're gonna just go take a look at this and mark this area out.
Yeah,
Okay, we're going to pull back from the city sewer now and complete our
you didn't
video
record that
sewer
whole
inspection.
conversation, did you?
We're going to pull back now and complete our video sewer inspection. So you have the two areas in the city sewer. You have that offset. This is the city lateral, 6-inch city lateral. You have this spot with the root intrusion and the crack in the piping. You have a large crack there in the piping. And you have this large crack starting from here, which you can see, and it starts to curve around up toward the right. And we kind of lose it. We can't see how far it goes up, but we have roots starting to grow through that area too. So that needs to be supported with at least a CIPP liner with the cured in place piping. And that other offset will be supported as well, so hopefully it will not shift any more than what it is. And we pull back to our house line. This is our property line sewer. And that's cracked as well, that concrete piping. You can see it right in front of, going all the way around to at least the 1 o'clock area. That could be going all the way around the pipe, but you can't really see it. You do have roots growing in at about the 9-10 o'clock area, so more than likely that's cracked all the way around as well. That's old concrete piping. We have roots growing right through the piping. You can see that crack up toward the 1 o'clock area, and that's separating up there. And that could be cracked all the way around. There's another crack right back behind that as well. Then we have a joint here. And there's some separation off that top left-hand side. And we have some minor root intrusion coming through that joint. We have numerous cracked joints in this line. And now we're coming up, and we are transitioning back to the 4-inch vitreous clay, and we have some root intrusion where it goes from 4-inch vitreous clay to the concrete piping. You can kind of see the pebble, the stone in the concrete piping right here. It transitions back to 4-inch vitreous clay. We're coming up the line. That's a pretty steep drop right there. Had a little bit of root intrusion and some offsetting and that crack at the top of that fitting. And as we pointed out, we had several cracks in this offset where it shifted and you actually drop down into the pipe. So you can see the top of the face of the piping, and it is shifted, and you got a little bit of root intrusion in there. Then you have this large crack all the way around the pipe. And then you have another large crack all the way around. And then we have a crack in this piping that appears to possibly go all the way around. We have some shifting in that piping. We have some offsetting. We have a crack in this piping you see off to the left. And to the right, you can see where it's separating, where the crack is actually shifting, where that piece of pipe is coming apart. Then you have the joint right back behind it. And you have another crack all the way around, it looks like. You have root intrusion. You have numerous cracks in this piping and shifting. That joint shifted a little tiny bit, but not terribly. No cracks or breaks in that joint. Then we have a crack in this joint. or excuse me, this is a crack in the piping past the joint. Looks like it may go all the way around. Roots are growing right through the piping, not through the joint. And again, we have another crack in the piping all the way around, and roots growing in. A little bit of a shifting, not terribly. And that's the ABS plastic. And this is up underneath the patio, and we're pulling back. We're pulling back to our mainline cleanout, and this is ABS plastic right here, and we are out of our mainline cleanout. And that concludes it.